Hello everyone and welcome back to Art by Flan. Today we are working on just a simple picture. I want to do something simple this week. I wasn't really feeling, the full body dynamic poses that I usually try to work on because it's something I need to work on. So this week is just a simple little bust of one of my favorite fan characters. She is for the Elder Scrolls series, but she's for the Elder Scrolls Online. I know that game got a lot of a bad rap, but I really enjoy it. It's really a nice, fun game. It's easy to relax to. It's beautiful. The music's pretty great. So it's one of my favorite. Well, I say favorite, one of the only MMOs I play. I'm not a really big MMO person, and the only reason I would have given it a shot in the first place is because it's the Elder Scrolls, and I'm a big fan of that series. So, yeah, that's what she's for. And like I said, I just wanted something simple, so I just did a bust of her because she's my highest level character, but she's also my favorite personal character. I've got several, but she's probably my favorite. Her name is Lilly, if you hadn't guessed by the flowers in her hair. And she is a high elf or an altmer, if you are familiar with the terms they use in-game. She is a healer, and prior to the game's events, she was working at the Temple of Ariel, which is like their high god for the altmer, for the high elves. She was working as a devoted, devotee of him, and she found out her father went missing. She is the youngest daughter of 10 daughters, and her father's favorite. She's a naturally gifted healer, which is why she's at the temple in the first place. And when she finds out her father is missing, she goes out on the journey to spare her sisters or hiring anybody to have to go out and find her father. She wanted to find him. That's her dad. He means a lot to her. And while she's out trying to find him, the events of the game happen. So she ends up in Cold Harbor, and she finds out she's the vestige and that she has to take down Moloch Ball and that whole shebang. So now she's traveling to Tamriel, not only trying to stop him from destroying the world, but also to find her missing father, who is a military general of some sort. I'm not really quite familiar with how the Altmers set up their military rankings, but that's her basic story. And like I said, she's probably my favorite character to play with. I find magic in the Elder Scrolls Online a much more enjoyable experience for me than it was in Skyrim. Like, I preferred weapons in Skyrim, but I definitely prefer magic, healing, sorcery, things like that in the Elder Scrolls Online. I tried a little something different with my line art this time. This time I went through with a thicker line and blocked in most of the shapes, the main shapes and the main masses in the image, and then I just went through with a slightly smaller brush and worked in the details and just added a little more line weight to the image, and I really liked how it came out. So I think I may continue to do that on a couple of other pieces, but I definitely enjoyed how it came out on this one. I don't like how the lilies I'm making right now came out. They seem a little fat. They seem, I don't know, just not, they don't have a lily feel to them. Like, I used a referenced image for them, so I guess the lilies come in all shapes and sizes, but these particular ones don't feel as lily-ish as the ones in her hair do. So I definitely like the ones in her hair much, much better. They definitely came out better. The ones around her body are bad. I just don't care for them. And here I am just working on the inks in her hair. And especially when I color the lilies around her body, I really definitely start to dislike them. I tried to do them off camera, but they just weren't coming out as well, so I just ended up sticking with those. And here I am replying to somebody on Skype, so there's a bit of a pause. I should probably edit those out in the future. And I am just adding a couple more details to her hair on the front. It looked a little busy in the back with all her strands, and I wanted to make the same feel on the front of her hair, which seemed a little less busy, if you understand what I mean. And when I originally drew the sketch, I felt like her eyes might have been too big. I really wanted to go with a big feel for them because she's a very, innocent character. She's very sweet. She's very kind. And I wanted to reflect that in her eyes, but they seemed too big in the sketch. But after I inked them, I was definitely okay with the size that they were. And I'm just adding the final details to her headband. Trying to get that one line. Don't you hate it when you get that one line that's just not working? And so here I am going into Photoshop to do my base colors. I wish I could break this habit, but it's just such a force that it's just, I don't think about it when I do it. She does have a yellowish tint to her skin, or straight up yellow skin. That's sort of a Elder Scrolls elf, Altmer elf thing. They have yellowish tints to their skin, goldish, and so I definitely reflected that here with when I designed her in-game. And if I thought about it, I would have gotten an in-game screenshot of her, but I didn't think about it at the time. So yeah, she has yellowish skin, lighter hair. That's more of the high elf look in the actual game series. So, and hey, if you haven't played the Elder Scrolls Online, it's free to play. I would definitely check it out. It's kind of big in size. If you have a computer with not a lot of space or a slow computer, I don't know if you'll be able to run it, but I definitely recommend it. It's one of those games I can just come back to after a while and not really think about. I'm not much of an MMO person in general, but the Elder Scrolls Online is one of those I can definitely get into for a while. I know it doesn't. Everyone says it doesn't feel like an Elder Scrolls game, but it feels like an Elder Scrolls MMO. It's hard to make a game that's so personal like the Elder Scrolls games work in an MMO setting. So, I mean, for what it is, it's fairly good, and I really enjoy it. I recommend it. If you like the Elder Scrolls, it's a nice filler between Skyrim and whatever Elder Scrolls game is coming out next. So here I am just moving on to the lilies. I added a little bit of a gradient inside of them. I just felt it made them pop a little more, and it really just made them kind of feel softer, and I really like that about them. So I tried to make them, I ran with the golden yellowish theme so that, it would kind of fit in with her skin and stuff, and not, it would pop out, but it wouldn't, be the main point of the image. And so here I am just working on her lips. I couldn't decide. Her top lip just got progressively darker as I worked. And her eyes. Another Altmer trait is their eyes. And you'll notice a lot of elves in the Elder Scrolls series have different eye colors. Like the Dunmer or the Dark Elves have red eyes based on their lore, and the Altmer have golden eyes to go with their skin and such. So here I am taking it back into Tool SAI, and when I made the background gray in Photoshop, I somehow managed to make it the exact gray Tool SAI is. So when I opened it up in Tool SAI, it looked like one big image instead of a canvas there. So I just changed it to a brighter color while I worked on my shading. And of course, always, I love to shade hair, and so here I am just working on that. Again, I use that basic blue as just a template so I can easily see the shades when I'm drawing them in, and then I'll adjust their colors somewhere else. And there I was, just saving it again. I accidentally saved it as, and I always do this, as a SAI file, Tool SAI file, so it wouldn't open up in Photoshop, so I had to open it back up in SAI, and resave it as a PSD, and bring it back like that. So I'm moving on to her skin. I'm really happy with the shades on anything but her hair on this one. I don't know, I feel I struggle shading faces, so that's something I really want to work on, is getting better at shading faces and shading bodies in general. There isn't a lot of skin to shade here, but I'm not, like I said, not overall happy with the shades on this one, so I'm definitely going to work on that in the future, and I never think about how to shade lips. And so here we are back to the lilies. Like I said, these I'm pretty happy with. I really like how they came out. But the ones on the bottom, and you're going to see here in a minute, is where I'm shading them, and they look almost plasticky to me. Like they're all solid, and they are, but I don't know. I wanted them to appear softer, and I wasn't sure how to get that look, so I just sort of did the best I could with, what I had in terms of shading them. So I'm just working on those petals here. Like I said, I did use reference, but it wasn't a very good reference for shading, so I probably should have looked up some more. That's my Danny's art tip of the day. Always use reference and multiple if you have to, or you'll come up with plastic-looking lilies. And again, another pause where I think I'm replying to somebody on Skype, which, again, I should probably warn people on Skype or just not reply when I'm working on these. But it takes me, 2 or 3 hours to shade a piece here and there, so I do things in between, and one of the reasons I started doing videos to sort of help me keep on track with that, and actually finish a piece when I started, because there are several instances where I've started a piece, left it sit for 2 weeks, and then came back to it. So I finished up the shading, and I was trying to do the hue saturation in Tool SAI, but I wasn't liking it. I wasn't liking how it worked very well. So then I just put it back in Photoshop and took it there. It's nothing for me to pop it back open. So here I changed the color of the line art, and here I'm working on her pupils. So again, I tried doing it with the shape tool like I usually do in Photoshop, but it wasn't working. So I just took it into Tool SAI and drew her little pupils in, putting her little highlights in. I started with white, didn't like it, changed it to gold, worked on that quite a bit. I'm trying to put more detail into my eyes as well, to make them stand out a bit more. And I don't know if you can tell, but I'm putting highlights on her hair on one of my screens, because my tablet is a bit different from my monitor. So on my tablet, I could see them, but on my monitor, I couldn't. So, I just put that little dash in to make sure. And here I am going in and putting some soft blush on her shoulders and cheeks, putting the shine on her lips. making you know that that's hard metal gold. I need to work on shading metal as well. And in Photoshop, I worked on the background. And I had a vague idea, and I always have just like a vague idea of a background when I go in. But I need to start solidifying that idea before I start working on the bust, because by the time I finish the actual image, I'm too burnt out to do the background. And so I always just end up plopping something in there that's kind of, not the best. I could do better. So what I originally tried to do in the game, the area which the high elves originate from has a lot of these really beautiful pink trees around them. And so I just tried to do that, capture the beautiful puffy pink trees. They're almost like sakura trees that they have in, the Somerset Isles where the elves are from in the game. And I sort of liked it, but I sort of didn't. So I tried to make it gold, to maybe go with more of a color palette, but I ended up not liking that either. I tried just a yellow background. I was like, that's too plain. And so I was on the right track with this, and I sort of liked it. And again, I sort of didn't. And then I realized I forgot my gradients, so I had to go back and add in the gradients over her skin and stuff to give her that extra little pop of depth. And after I added those gradients, I should have lessened the red on her cheeks and shoulders and stuff, because it really, really brought it out. I didn't mean for it to bring it out that much, but that's what happened. So here I am just adding some flowers to that yellow to sort of bring it back and, just give it a little bit of texture back there. Here she is, all finished. So if you like what you see, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and you can always, of course, check out the full version on my DeviantArt page, all linked in the description below. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye!